Hello, welcome to the First Issue Club podcast. It's now December, it's Christmas season, and we're talking comics, just like we do each and every week. We cover the first issues, we read them together, we review them with you, and we have a good ass time doing it. So thanks so much for joining us. We're going to be covering some cool number ones that came out over Thanksgiving week. Those books are Power Pack on Marvel and Kaiju Score, the S is a $sign, on Aftershock. Who do we have in the studio of the moon today?
Just me and you, brother.
It's a twofer. It's a twosome.
Mike D.
And Budget King.
Hey.
Two guys in a studio talking comics on a Black Fridays when we're recording.
Exactly right. Deals back and forth. We actually waited to record because I thought I was going to get some deals on some comic art.
Yeah.
I didn't find any.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference this year between Black Friday and Cyber Monday if everybody's doing it all online now?
It's a great point.
The answer's nothing.
Yeah, no, nothing.
No deals, just marketing gimmicks.
I guess Cyber Monday is typically more tech focused.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, isn't that right? See?
Oh, now you see, you're going to buy yourself some
It's
AirPods.
kind of all the same at this point. Black Friday turned from one day into like a week-long thing.
Yeah, exactly. We're hunting some deals.
Soon it's just going to be a holiday shopping season. People are going to call Halloween to Christmas Black Friday. Soon.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. If you don't go into stores, it's just deals start after Halloween.
Right.
We went to TKO. We saw that Scout's doing something. There's going to be deals all week, I imagine.
Yep.
Midtown's losing their goddamn mind.
Midtown's got some good 75% off decent variants.
Okay.
I picked up a couple.
That's good.
You get like $25 variants for like $7.
Yeah. The only problem with Midtown is you can't find a damn thing on their website.
Yeah. It's true. Their site's bad.
They don't care. I think they just have a warehouse and they're like, list the book.
Yeah.
And then spend no money on actually being able to search things.
Mm-hmm. People want these so bad they'll do the work for us.
They're our web designer.
You, the user.
Yeah, we typically as a club go pretty crazy during this week getting all the trades or different things that we didn't get over the year.
Mm-hmm.
And you should too. But don't buy from Amazon. That's a big news hit.
Yeah.
I think
Here's my thing though. Comixology
is Amazon.
is Amazon, and it's so cheap right now.
Yeah.
Like, if you can either pay $15 for trades or like $4 for trades during Black Friday and Comixology.
Here's why I don't hate Comixology as much as Amazon. The Unlimited Pass gives you access to like all of their originals.
Mm-hmm.
And they had some really good books this year come out on originals.
Yeah.
Including the Chip Zdarsky book that won an Eisner.
Afterlift.
Yeah. So don't sleep on Comixology's originals.
Yeah, they've got some good ones.
Mm-hmm. They dropped a couple this week too.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't read them yet.
Yeah, I'll go read them.
Mm-hmm.
So we both have an unlimited account?
I canceled mine a while back.
Okay. I have mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So
use yours, and we'll scheme Amazon that way.
yeah, publicly, hey, Amazon, we're scheming you. I share a bunch of Spotify accounts and Netflix. Come at me. Come at Badget King. He's sharing digital shit. Got a target on my back now.
I only had one topic for this week, and it was kind of a continuation of what we talked about last week. Dan Slott stepped in it again.
He stepped in the doo-doo.
He's having a really bad holiday season. Last week we got on him for how he handled people being pissed about Franklin Richards.
Yeah.
The Fantastic Four storyline. But it's a whole thing. Go back and listen to that episode if you missed it. Well, in any case, there's this popular documentary series that people are loving, Marvel 616 on HBO Max. Each episode is like a celebrity narrating a documentary about some aspect of Marvel, be it, women creators throughout Marvel history or writing the Marvel way using the Marvel method, which is kind of the episode where this controversy comes out of. Popularly, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee used to work together by, Stan Lee giving a very general gist of where he wanted the story to go. And then your artists at Marvel would draw the comics, and then they would write the dialogue to the comics afterwards.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Which I don't think is a good method.
No, it's so backwards, right? And
Your favorite comic, Inkblot, does that.
yeah, right. It seems like something that people will do is like an homage,
Yeah.
or they'll just say that I romanticize the way that those guys worked on comics. What would it be like
Right.
just to do that as an exercise?
Okay.
Fine. Dan Slott still works that way. Now, let me say, he's one of my favorite comic book writers.
Yeah.
Despite all of the, bad press he's been kind of getting this past month, I always loved the Spider-Man run he did. I loved the She-Hulk run he did.
Did you like the Iron Man he recently did?
Yeah. Well, up until Iron Man 2020, which I thought was like a little too convoluted for me, Marvel history-wise. And that's actually what this part of Marvel 616 is based on.
Oh.
Was that he had a really hard time figuring out where he wanted that storyline to go. And couldn't get information to the artist quick enough, which then essentially put it in the artist's hand to like meet this crazy deadline without much of a real script or direction. And then he's adding his word bubbles afterwards, right? And so it started.
Oh my God.
It started a little bit of a Twitter storm / coming out party of everyone who'd been like wronged at Marvel in some like creative deadline way. And there's a lot of artists who say like, I, lettered a comic in the delivery room while my wife was in labor. I was given 11 pages to illustrate, and the deadline was the next day.
Oh.
And it just made it sound like that there's been a lot of writers, editors, higher-ups at Marvel who have maybe abused their power of position and put some of the other people responsible for having to create and do a lot of heavy lifting in the comic books under really awful deadlines.
Because very seldom do they just say, "Oh, this book didn't make it this week."
Oh yeah, right. I mean, that's something you find in independents a lot. That they'll just say like, our publishing schedule's off a month, right? I'm sure they try to keep to it as much as they can, but a lot of that creator-owned stuff, you're like, I've got no one to blame but myself, or I want the comic to be as good as I want it to be,
right?
Because I'm the boss.
Redneck issue 14 comes out next year
when I'm ready. Yeah,
yeah.
When it's written, it'll come out.
Yeah.
Which
makes it
so
Marvel. Hard to like read. So I do appreciate Marvel understands the business aspect of it,
right?
But that's not fair to the little guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when you think about events and tie-ins and things like that's one of the toughest things about having a universe of comics is that the release schedule has to be so concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Canceling books becomes a nightmare. Yada yada. In Dan Slott's defense, a couple people have come out and said they feel like that was dramatized for TV a little bit. They worked with him in the past. That's kind of just like sometimes comic books are like that, just like any other job, but just not another week. That's just not a good look for Marvel and Dan Slott.
Yeah.
Hopefully we all have a better 2021, including you, Dan.
Right. Yep. I hope it gets better for you. All right. Yeah. You watched that show yet?
No, I haven't had a chance to see it. I'm really excited to, though.
Yeah, me too.
I think I still have an HBO Max account. We did the trial to like watch something.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? On a little bit of a callback to earlier in the news, that you could also have my HBO
I'll cancel mine right now.
Log in if you want. I'm the Santa Claus of digital subscriptions.
Here's my problem though. Not to throw my buddy TJ under the bus or anything, but I share my Hulu
Do you?
password with him,
Yeah.
and now my entire Hulu is like Street Sharks and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Animaniacs.
You know he can make a profile though on Hulu for his name, I think.
What does that mean?
Like in Netflix, that's how they solve that. Is like you can have a handful of profiles, so then all
Oh.
of your viewing preferences are cataloged in your profile.
I should do that with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I can't find anything I want to watch because it's all like cartoon recommendations.
Yeah. So that's the way to go. And then you could put on age restrictions on them if you don't want them watching dirty shit.
Here's the thing too that happens is that maybe we'll watch the same show.
Oh, and then you'll be weird. Yeah.
And then he'll be like 2 episodes ahead of me, and then I'll accidentally start watching episode 8 when I'm on episode 4.
So this is a thing on HBO that I've heard and I've seen on Twitter streams or whatever, is like, maybe it's because of shared accounts. I don't know what it is, but routinely people will start a show and it will play the finale of that season, and seemingly like as if you pressed the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of famously, the Game of Thrones episode
Wow.
of season 1, which is is kind of I don't know if you didn't watch the show, but it's insane. So a lot of people had like the show ruined for them just by like this glitch that HBO had or whatever.
That happened to me on Amazon Prime with the Tick.
Oh,
It started the finale when I went to watch it.
it doesn't affect Budget King because he's spoiler proof. But for the vast majority of listeners to this podcast and yourself, you probably had a bad time.
You don't look forward to or take pleasure in anything anymore. So spoilers don't matter.
I like knowing things. Yeah. I mean, some people are immune to COVID. I'm immune to spoilers. If I had my pick between the two, people seem to be more upset about spoilers. So I'm glad I picked that one.
Well, okay.
And that reminds us the time is now to
Spoil this podcast.
started. First up, we have Power Pack, the Marvel comic. And I paused there for a minute because I just wanted to say, you maybe saw Power Pack, you saw that it said Outlawed, and you saw that there was kids on the front, and you skipped over it or whatever. Maybe you had a busy Thanksgiving week, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. You messed up. You march your ass right back in that comic book shop. You pick up this book, and you're going to have a good-ass time, and you're going to hear about that right now.
Wow, you're in.
I liked it.
Okay.
The creative team we have here is Ryan North from The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Amazing run. And then Nico Leone from Agents of Atlas, which was also great artwork. So
That's right.
great team here.
What a team.
What a team. So Power Pack is back.
Yep.
And if you don't know about Power Pack, they were the first preteen superhero bunch from Marvel.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a bunch of facts about Power Pack, but
Okay.
that one's free.
Hey.
Tax-free, too.
Oh, I don't have to work for it.
You don't have to work for it. You don't have to declare it.
Okay.
It's all there for you.
Am I getting quizzed on the other facts?
Some of them might be quiz-worthy.
All right. It's always fun with you. What a treat for me.
It's a grab bag with me, I think. So first preteen, what are they called? Team. Preteen team.
Yeah, when you have multiple superheroes together, and this is something we get into sometimes, it's called a team.
Yes, team. And they're back, and they're now in the event of Outlawed, which, Mike, remind our listeners, what is Outlawed?
Outlawed is a Marvel event taking place across several Marvel titles wherein they've essentially outlawed teenagers from having superhero secret identities, which I kind of agree with. I don't know that someone under 18 or 21, I think
I
in
think
the
it's under
comics,
21.
should be able to like be a vigilante and fight crime. That's kind of not safe. So
They can't drive a car. They shouldn't be able to shoot energy blasts into the air.
Yeah, right. So this cheekily named like organization called Cradle.
Which stands for
Oh my God, I can't. It's
Ki-
like child.
Kids Restricting Adolescent
Nah, you can stop.
Delinquency.
First of all, kids doesn't start with C.
It doesn't start with C?
So
Man.
you're off from the bat. But yeah, that's like the shield of like enforcing this new law.
Yeah. I actually think it's a very simple event to grasp.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it's bringing in a lot of other fun titles.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how many under 21 superheroes Marvel had.
Yeah.
So it's cool. And so here we bring in Power Pack.
Right.
Power Pack is not new to the Marvel universe.
Yeah, you said Power Pack is back a couple times. Let's get some background on that.
Sure.
Where did they go? Where are they from?
Well, let's start with that one.
Okay.
They fight in New York in this episode, not originally from New York.
Is that right?
Yes, they're from the state of
Virginia.
You knew it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my mind's blown. How
Yeah.
did you know that?
I did my own Power Pack research. I'm a prepared podcast co-host.
Virginia. If we have anybody from Virginia listening, this is your team.
You'll probably all have Power Pack tattoos.
Yeah, I would agree. The Great Lakes superheroes, they got their own.
There was a point in time wherein, I can't remember her name. What's Julie?
Yes.
Was invited to join the
Rainbow Flyer.
Rainbow Flyer. She flies and has a rainbow trailer.
Yes.
So 80s. So that's one of the things I loved about this was that it just had this 80s spiritual vibe to the whole thing.
Yes.
Their outfits are like 80s unitards.
Oh, yeah.
They look right out of a kid's cartoon from that era.
And, okay, so this leads me into my next thing, I guess, which isn't really a quiz. Like an 80s show, because it was specifically geared to kids,
Right.
It did the thing that like Family Matters and Full House and Step by Step kind of did.
Just turned into an after-school special.
Where they tried to have like a moment to tell you about this problem and like have you think about it.
Right.
So common issues that Power Pack would deal with would be like teen homelessness, gun violence.
Very 80s
Yes.
childhood problems.
What exact year did they get launched?
1984.
Correct. Power Pack is as old as Budget King. That's how I remember it.
How about that?
Yep. Okay, do you know about the writer, the first author of this, the kind of weird situation that happened here?
When I saw her name, I was like, oh man, Marvel royalty. Well, Marvel and DC.
Yes.
And you might be about to say the same thing.
I knew
that
you
I'm
were
thinking.
I knew you were going to know this. And so I'm so glad I brought this up. Yes.
Co-creator of characters like Cable,
Mm-hmm.
Apocalypse, and on the DC side, Steel and Doomsday.
Yes.
Which is funny or makes sense maybe that the creator of Doomsday and Apocalypse is the same,
The same person.
Same person.
But famously, mostly known for being an editor.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
And it wasn't in the 80s and early 90s, editors were encouraged to write
Okay.
and contribute.
Yeah.
And Power Pack was the first iteration of adding to that, creating a team
Okay, cool.
for, I don't know. So,
Editor was like, I have to write something. I might as well write like
I don't know. I don't
something
know.
for
Yeah.
teens that'll help the youth.
I was 0 at the time, so I don't know if it was encouraged or required, but
Oh, so yeah, this is just off the dome knowledge you have
Yeah.
from being 3 months old.
yes, yeah.
Aware of Marvel and
Just witnessing the
the
world.
logistics of their offices in the 80s.
Yes. When you're born in a
Hey,
time.
the turkey hangover is real, man.
Okay, very a famous person we've been talking about a lot recently has dipped their toe in the Power Pack. Do you know who that is?
I'm going to guess Dan Slott just because he came up earlier.
Oh, fictional person.
has dipped their toes into
Been sometimes is part of Power Pack.
Franklin Richards.
Correct.
This happened in my 20s, I think. I remember there
Okay.
was like a mini series
Yeah.
of Power Pack with Franklin Richards. They came back for like a very short stint.
Yes.
In
They've come back a handful of times.
have they? Okay.
Yeah. So like in 2000, 2007, House of M
House of M, really?
had Avengers 3 has them.
Really? Okay. I've always been like peripherally aware of them, but they never seemed so crucial to a storyline for me to like really, really know them.
Well, and I think that that's really what they are is they're
Mhm.
like they are the like preteen fighters.
Okay.
So it's like they were always representing like below 15. I guess
Mhm.
12-year-old and things like that.
Yeah.
So my last quiz for you is can you name 3 other teams that members were on of theirs? So like if they dip into another team.
Oh, if they dip into another team. Oh God, this is a great question. Were any of them in Excalibur?
No, that's actually I would have accepted X Factor. That's not part of my 3 because
Okay.
they just recently appeared in an X Factor.
All right.
Alternate universe, but no, not Excalibur.
Not Excalibur. I'm just thinking of like other pop like Excalibur was really popular in like the 80s,
Yes.
90s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I was just like maybe that.
But is Excalibur not kind of typically British though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Gosh, no clue.
Future Foundation, FF.
Future Foundation, okay.
Um,
Makes sense. Franklin Richards connection.
yeah. A little stint in New Mutants.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. That's a young group of mutants. Yep.
And then one of them, I don't remember which, was in New Warriors for a minute.
New Warriors. That's right. The Gravity Kid
Okay. Yeah.
was in New Warriors.
Nobody, I'll tell you this.
Adam?
You, I guess. I was about to say, nobody remembers their actual names.
Yeah.
All right, now we can get into the story of what this comic book is about. We did it. Power Pack, I think one of the defining things about them, besides being preteen, is that their parents are not aware of their abilities. So they are hiding them from them.
Yep.
And this leads to a lot of narrative arcs, wherein one of the main things is that the issue starts off with Katie, the youngest, who power is energy balls,
Yep.
is made a comic to tell her parents that they have superpowers on their anniversary. Older kids say, no, that ain't gonna happen. That intro of her doing the comic drawn was magnifique, beautiful.
Oh, it was great. That was really cute too.
Yeah, it was such a good way to introduce you to like, hey, here's who they are.
Yep.
And like really drawn well from the perspective of a kid, or written well from the perspective of a kid.
Yeah. So what you're referring to is that when you open the comic, the first few pages are like written as a child has written a comic. You're like literally reading the comic she wrote for her parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the narrative device completely explains to you without
A
like,
little bit of background of the characters, enough working knowledge to just say, okay, now I'm on board.
Yeah, now I know who these people are. Yeah. Another thing that they have to do to hide that they're fighting crime is pretend to take a shit so big that they blew up a toilet and then have to go walk it off because of the embarrassment.
Which I love because if you're 4 kids who are superheroes and you got to sneak around behind your parents' backs to fight crime, you're gonna run out of excuses pretty quick. So clogging the toilets, maybe, you're getting creative.
Parents mentioned it wasn't the first time that it happened, so I guess they'd used that excuse before.
Man, our kids in their dumps.
So I guess this is technically an event book, but it also seems like a standalone re-up.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why is that they aged him up. This is the most dramatically age up that's what I kept on saying. The Power Pack is back.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of an age up in that the oldest is actually at least job holding age, but still under 21.
They made a comment in the book too that he was artificially aged by an alien or something.
Oh.
So they're trying to make some continuity work, I think, because initially it must have been that they were all closer to the same age. But for a comic book, when you're looking at like 4 little kids, for them to all be the same age gets a little clunky and confusing, I think, especially for new audiences to differentiate them. So I kind of like that they made one kid, drastically older.
This isn't the first time they've done this, though. I think
Is it not?
Julie skipped a couple grades because she was so smart.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Like, it put her in, like, a different, like, I think, like, 5th grade when she may have supposedly been in 3rd grade or
Right.
whatever. So, yeah, they've used that methodology before. Mentally, they're actually at the age of blah, blah, blah.
Do you think anyone's bigger Power Pack experts than us by now? I mean, no one's ever been more prepared for a conversation than the two of us.
You know what I love is we didn't talk about this either. We
No.
just both were like, let's
become experts on Power Pack before this conversation and just say facts to each other.
Yes.
Forget talking about the actual comic. Let's just say facts about Power Pack.
Facts about Power Pack. Another fact for you.
It just never stops.
2 facts, actually.
Barrage me.
In the 90s, they said, let's adult this up a little bit.
Yep.
This is what reminded me of that.
Okay.
Didn't go so well. Lasted about 6 issues. Fans said, no.
Sure, I get that.
They had to retcon it with a holiday special and be like, sorry. When
Yep.
we tried to do that and make it more adulty, that's not actually the direction of this. So they got to be careful.
I would say so. I guess you fall in love with the characters, and the whole essence of them is that they're kids. Anything that progresses a story too quick and doesn't like earn it,
Yeah.
is a little frustrating.
Final fact. Do you know in 1991 they actually shot and aired a pilot of the Power Pack?
No, but I mean, this stuff reads like it was written to be a cartoon.
Yeah. It never made it past the pilot, although maybe there were episodes shot.
Uh-huh.
It only aired in like Saturday morning cartoon occasionally.
It was a cartoon, correct?
Sorry, it was live action.
It was live action.
Yeah.
How would you even do a live action show of this?
I don't know. I want to see that pilot so bad though.
I bet we could find it on YouTube.
I have to find it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's I mean, we mostly talked about facts. The reason why we talked about facts.
Well,
is
I mean, you read the premise, and that's what it is.
this is a reintroduction to the Power Pack in the best way possible. They're even fighting their most famous villain,
Boogeyman. Boogeyman because he comes after kids.
Yes, he
eats children.
He needs to eat them.
Yep.
So they fight Boogeyman and
Kick his ass.
yeah, and then Cradle comes in and essentially launches what's gonna the whole narrative is gonna be like now they're in the outlawed universe and how are they gonna deal with that?
Yep.
Which is a great way to deal with this Power Pack because I think that that's what you want to see them do is tackle something bigger.
Yep.
I hope they reveal to their parents that they're super.
I think we talked about most of their superpowers. We talked about the kid who controls gravity, kid who flies and leaves a rainbow trail behind her. Very easy to find her.
Yes.
Can't sneak around too much when you fly and leave a rainbow trail.
She's also queer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's great. The little girl who throws energy balls. I love this aspect of the character that she has to transfer energy.
Yes.
She needs to turn something into energy. So she destroys mass and then can shoot balls of power. So she
seems like the most powerful.
Body eats a dumpster and then she throws her power balls.
Much like a baby snake, which is the most poisonous, the youngest child.
Wow. More facts. More.
Power packed with facts.
Oh my gosh. And then the last kid,
Cloud Boy?
can change his density.
Yes.
So he can either be
Mass Master?
is Mass Master his superhero name? God, that's dorky.
Yeah.
But you think about it, if this was a kids teaching about physics and things,
Yeah.
that it makes sense that gravity, energy transference, etc. would be part of their powers. But he's interesting because he can turn into a bullet so dense that he can really hurt somebody. There's also he can turn into a cloud because he can spread his molecules out so far. They made a funny joke, or they acknowledged the whole Ant-Man thing from Infinity Wars, where people were like, why couldn't Ant-Man shrink himself down, get in Thanos' butt, and blow him up?
Yeah.
the master in this one is like, why don't I just get tiny and then expand inside of him,
Blow him up.
blow him up? And they were like, we don't kill. So they like immediately addressed that like conundrum there.
And then he was like, I don't know if it would kill him. It seems like he could kind of blob out. It just might really hurt him. This felt like Unbeatable Squirrel Girl in all the best ways.
Yeah.
And I loved that series.
Yeah.
And so this is, I mean, great book. I feel like my only complaint is that I don't want it to end just with Outlawed.
Yeah, I think it's a limited series.
Yeah.
Is the vibe I got.
Power Pack doesn't have a lot of legs to carry its own series.
Seems like they need to break the kids apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, oh well.
Yeah. Anyway, good little book. Pick it up if you're
a Marvel head.
Yeah, or gloomy in the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Either one. This is your Xanax for your Christmas blues. Now we have Kaiju $ score or Kaiju score, depending on how you want to say this.
No. Let me correct you. If you can't say Kaiju $ score, you can say Kaiju $core.
Got it. Okay, you're right.
Because
Yes.
the $ and the core together are supposed to look like score.
Correct. Sorry. Yes. So audio-wise, we need to say Kaiju $ core.
What do you mean audio-wise?
Well, because visually it looks like an S.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Different means of conveyance.
Yes.
Correct.
And in it being Kaiju $ core, is it like hardcore or like
money core?
Yeah, money core.
That's my favorite genre of comics.
Money core.
Money core comics.
Perfect. This the creative team here is James Patrick and Rem Brew. Rem Brew has not done a lot, but murdered this comic book.
Oh, his art style is very cool.
Wonderful. Yes. Reminiscent of Chew a little bit.
I can see that.
Stylized characters and kind of their own like dimensions and stuff. Not necessarily proportionate to like real, but looked amazing.
Very stylized.
Yes. This is a score, a caper, a crime. They're gonna do a grift, right?
How many different ways can you think of saying crime?
I did it. I did a lot.
You rattled off so many in like one sentence.
And
you don't need to search for any more.
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
You're off the hook.
I was gonna try.
We get it.
Okay. But it's a bunch of losers.
Yeah.
Grade A losers. Most of the comic book is about how much of a loser they all are.
Yep.
They suck.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. So we're putting together like an Ocean's 11 sort of team.
Yeah.
Out of rejects who have like bunked jobs before.
Yes. So we're missing the whole big thing about this.
Yes.
This is a score, but the big thing is
otherwise known as a
caper grift. Theft. Lift.
Lift, yeah.
This is a world where Godzilla could attack at any moment and be a natural disaster, and so therein lies the kaiju. Godzilla meaning any kaiju, I guess.
Yeah, right. Kaiju is another word for a Godzilla type monster. They treat kaiju attacks much like you would treat like a hurricane being inbound.
Yes.
Like we've detected one
Similar,
100 miles off the shore.
This might be like
warning.
This might be in the Pacific Rim universe. That's
right.
It's exactly how they kind of deal with it.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
I never saw Pacific Rim.
2 of them, great movies.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
All right.
Except for there's no mechs in this that we've seen.
No mechs.
And so the big thing is that where they're gonna steal a bit priceless artwork, they're gonna do it during a kaiju attack.
Right.
So that's what makes this comic book different than
any other
Ocean's
heist,
11.
caper, robbery, crime book.
Yes, exactly. Wow, we're good with words. That's why we do radio.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I will say this: I thought I was gonna read a kaiju book, and then I read a crime book, and I had to like readjust gears a little bit.
Yeah.
And being like, wait, what? Okay.
I liked what I got. I typically am not much of a fan of stuff that relies wholly on there's a big monster and it's destroying things. Like the fact that a monster who can't speak a recognizable language was not the main character of this, I was like, thank God. That happens so much, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't get why, like, I don't get why people like kaiju stuff so much when it's so much of it is all redundant. But this was like uh, combining the two things, like a caper story with a kaiju story, gave me something surprisingly fresh that I really liked. Normally, if you just say we're jamming two genres together, that doesn't always mean that you're making something cool and original and
Right.
interesting. But here it was to me anyway.
Totally. I've read a lot of, burglary, raid, holdups,
Jesus.
pilfering stories.
Oh,
But
you love pilfering stuff. You know what he loves? Oh, is it about pilfering? He's going to love it. When your wife calls me to see what she should get you for your birthday, I say, anything about pilfering that he's been interested in? He just loves that.
just, siphoning off.
Siphoning, yeah.
But when you add this mix, it is great. I feel personally attacked because I am the person who likes big monster shit,
Uh-huh.
and it's more of a feeling, an emotional reaction. I think people who like Power Rangers, people who like Evangelion, people who like
It's like a nostalgia kick.
Godzilla thing. Yes, and I think it's a little bit of a love for Japanese or Asian culture as well.
Sure.
And the aesthetics of it. And so I agree, but it is the same retelling of the story. What are we going to do? The world could end. Giant monster crushing everything. Rampage, the video game.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that game.
Also a movie, I think, with The Rock.
Yeah.
So this is the episode where we just name shit that's similar to other words that we're
Two
saying.
weird segments. A list of facts and then just synonyms and similar things being named.
I mean, you liked it. I liked it. I just don't know. Like, I think that this is a book that comes out on an independent this week, and like, it's a tough entry point, but
Yeah.
like certainly really fun.
Oh, it's worth your time.
Yeah. And I think they treated the element of adding like how do we make this different one of the best I've seen.
Yeah.
Like it's a light smattering of kaiju and the world is baked enough but doesn't take itself too seriously that it like totally worked for me.
The characters that play are interesting. The guy who bankrolled the thing is like, if you fuck this up, you know what's going to happen. And then they show a bunch of people hanging in a meat locker.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, cool. There's some real fucked up stakes here.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I also liked, we mentioned already, the Safecracker's got an interesting backstory, as does, like,
By the way,
the getaway driver has, like, a really cool thing where he's just been, like, had insane bad luck. So people in the crime community start to joke that you can't bring him on your score because your engine's going to fall out of your car.
Yeah. There's just a series of badness. That's a dark cloud, if you will, around them. So there's a lot to see, like, how do they get this? How do they figure it out?
Do they figure it out?
Do they figure it out? Are they implying that they're going to ride upon the kaiju?
I know they're going to stay in its zone.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah.
So the deal is that when kaiju make landfall, they're docile in this universe. Like, they don't want to just knock over buildings for the fuck of it. They want to, like, come up, sunbathe, etc.
Maybe go eat a little bit.
Right. And they don't eat people or tear shit up unless they're provoked. So it sounds like they're going to try to provoke the thing to cause some disaster and destruction so they can have easier access to this bank vault.
It's what I would do if I were about to steal something.
Yeah, provoke a kaiju.
You ever stolen something worth more than $10?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. So we're both. This is an area we're not experts in.
No, you're right.
I don't know how you would do it. Do you need a distraction when you're actually stealing something, or do you just go for it? I bet it's kind of an Occam's razor type of thing where you grab the thing and you go. That's probably the best way to steal most things.
I think so.
Okay. We read 2 great books. For
We did. This
Thanksgiving.
was a great week for first issues.
It was fun.
Yep.
So I hope that your holiday season is starting off right.
Agree.
This has been the First Issue Club podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Our music is done by Primary Color Music.
Right.
And we record in the moon.
Yep.
Caitlin and Greg will be joining us soon.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope that you enjoyed this podcast enough to rate and review us anywhere.
5 stars.
We would love it. We thank you so much for doing that. Go ahead and subscribe on Spotify if you haven't, even if you don't listen there. That helps us as well. Any social media you want to get us at, we're invested in the social medias. And we have a Patreon where we put an episode almost every other week or every week.
We try to do it every week.
Every week? Almost every. I just don't want to promise something we don't deliver on. It's almost every week.
Yeah.
And tons of extra content. Like we talk about the coolest shit that you can't even imagine. Or maybe you do imagine, it's there. We love you. We're in love with you.